Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. It's already September. First show, I believe, of September. Yes, last week's was still August. September, one of my favorite months of the year. In reality, in reality, September marks the end of summer and the beginning of fall. That is essentially what this month brings. The change of the seasons, which is underway. It should be happening, and it kind of actually feels like it quite a bit. It's not that hot outside. It hasn't been that hot maybe this entire week. It's actually been cooling down, like low 90s. Gonna get back up a little bit hotter this later next week and this week, but not 100, not that high. Hasn't been that hot. It's been pretty mild for this time of year. What we're used to at this point in California, but it's not, as bad as it has been in the past. There used to be years in the past where September would bring, still 100 degrees, sometimes in October, it would even be pretty hot at that time too. Hotter than usual. You probably see pictures or stuff from other parts of the country, like in the East Coast, where it'd be, noticeably more fall than it is here. But this year has actually been not as hot in late of, this month. So maybe that'll bring a much cooler winter, even though last year's was pretty cool. But maybe this year's winter will be even cooler than ever. September also brings the remembrance, and not really remembrance, but the more of the creation. Well, actually, I don't even know if it was creation either, but the meme of 21st Night of September. That's what that brings. Now, if you don't know the song by Earth, Wind, and Fire, the song The 21st Night of September, I'm not sure what it's about. If I'm being completely honest, I just know this tune and that he says the 21st night of September. I'm not much of a lyric person when it comes to music. I just kind of, like what I hear, like the sound. The musical compensation is what I'm really looking at in terms of what I think sounds good and what I think sounds bad. And that song, do you remember the that song is one of the best songs ever written. For whatever reason, back in the day, I would say maybe 7 years ago, there was a moment in time when they would just play that silly ass part of the song, and it would just be a meme. The song itself would just be a meme. It would be played with other videos. It would be like a funny video, and then it would just cut to that. Other things along the lines of that, and it would just be one of the most funny memes that had ever been created, in my opinion. And for whatever reason, stuck forever. And people seem to really enjoy it. Some people were annoyed, of course. That comes with every single meme that has ever existed. But most times it's been loved. It's a beloved meme, I think. It's a beloved song. And I think partly because the song is so good is what makes it so beloved. Now, if it was a bad song, then it would probably not be as good. If I'm being completely honest, it would be pretty bad. Nobody would like it. But since the song is so good, and I agree that the song is fantastic, it has become a good meme, but also a meme that had its time in the sun and now is no longer welcome. Unfortunately, we live in this day and age, this era of our lives where, it's been called the digital era. Everybody's online, everybody's connecting digitally, whether it be by phone, computer, laptop, PC, it doesn't really matter, console. It doesn't really matter how you connect. We can all be connected in one way or another. And that way, for the most part, is digitally. Sharing things, seeing things that you would never really have seen if it was not for the advancements of technology. Like, go back to 2007, or better than that, 2005, to the time of before the iPhone, before the age of the smartphone. What did we use really to communicate with each other primarily? Now, I didn't get my phone until my first cell phone. I didn't get that thing until 2008. And it was not a smartphone. It was a basic phone. It was just a phone that was used for calling and texting. And that was it. That was all it was for. And it served its purpose that way. It served its purpose. There was internet available, but it wasn't very good. And it charged you 1 cent per second. So it was, pretty much forbidden to use that. So, you didn't want to rack up any bills. And it was like pretty much like, hey, you can't afford it, so stay off. And it was also not very good either. So it wasn't like it was something that you were like, oh, look how cool this is. No, it was terrible. It was awful. But that's how we normally used phones for, was communicating that way. There was no really other way, like no outlet to do it besides through your phone, texting and calling. I mean, there was email too, but email was mainly used back then on computers. And if you had a BlackBerry, it was a little bit easier to use your email. But it was, email for me today is too proper in certain ways. It's just a little too proper. Like it doesn't feel like I'm able to, even though it's on your phone and it's completely accessible and it's even easier to use today than it ever has been. There's this thing about email where I feel like it needs to be more grammatically constructed, more to like a proper writing and a proper punctuation and proper usage, that it's not possible for anybody to casually use it in a way that we use texting today. Like, if I'm going to send an email, I'm going to put like, dear so-and-so, comma, and then caps, and then indent, and then start what I'm about to say. And then at the end of what I'm going to say in that email, I still have in my brain, to put, tab, thanks, comma, tab, indent my full name, something like that. Or even not even thanks, but like put like sincerely, like very formal ways of writing. And the reason I say that is because that's how I was raised, right? To use how to use email was like, make it so like it's just like you writing a letter, but electronically, electronic mail, right? That's how it was always, used for me. Now I barely even send emails. Like, I don't send them really at all, unless it's like, somebody like who I don't even have their phone number, right? And I just want to get into touch with them and maybe send them something. I'll do that, right? I mean, but I won't like go out of my way to find their phone number or to ask for their phone number. I'll just be like, hey, can I email you? And I guess like, if you use like a service or something like that, or like maybe you're a member at some kind of store and you signed up for the rewards program, and like they're like, what's the best way to contact you? It's like you either got an option. You either choose your phone number or you give them your email address. I always do that because I don't want them to blow my phone. There was, and is still happening today, I do have a store, maybe not a store, but a website. It was because I bought somebody a hat one year for Christmas, maybe about like 3 years ago. And I think I accidentally hit like when I signed up for, I think you had to sign up for like when you bought, when I got the purchase for the gift, I think I accidentally left like the bubbles clicked for, keep me in the loop or keep getting alerts with new deals and stuff like that. And it was like, I think I left like the email and the phone number box checked, and I just hit, purchase. And then ever since then, I've just been getting emails and texts from the same shit. It's like, and I have not actually I have not like gained the energy to go into that website and just end it right then and there. Like, just stop receiving alerts. I have not been able to do that, and it's been kind of a pain in the ass because it should be very easy, right? But it's not. They always put like the unsubscribe at the very, 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 very bottom of the email in the super small text. And it's like, I can just delete the text, or I can delete the email and it won't be there. It's always like a quicker way for me to get rid of that problem. Just delete the message or delete the email. And you know what? It's actually gone pretty bad. Not with emails really, but like I've been getting a lot of like text spam too, like texting spam. It's been pretty outrageous. And so much to the fact that even Apple themselves have developed this this new software. It's only been like recently for me, like maybe within like the past like 2 years, that when you get like spam texts or spam calls, mainly with text, I also get spam calls too, but mainly this is with text messages. When I get a text message from a spam number, spam account, whatever it is, and I go to delete it, right? I go to the messages in the in my not my library, but my messages, and I go to swipe to the right or to the left, whatever, to delete it. And when I hit delete, it gives me the option to delete and report as spam. Now, I don't understand, like, if this is really necessary or if it really works, because I always hit delete and report as spam. And I've been doing that for like maybe several months now since I began these messages. And they keep coming. Like, not as frequently as I used to, but still I keep getting them. And it's just like, hey, yo, bro, Apple, hear me out. Like, I know that you took some steps and you want to act like you care about your customers' experience with your products and their phones and, their messaging and, what have you. And you want to make sure that everything's on a sailing, not a smooth sailing, right? But I'll be honest, I don't really know for a fact if your product or your service is up to speed with the absolute, amount of spam attacks that happen day in and day out with people and their cell phones. Like, some people were getting them like at an outrageous amount, like multiple a day. I used to get that multiple a day. And I guess, it took a while, right? It took a while for you to sift through all the bullshit, sift through all the junk, and sift through all these reports that I don't even know how you would even, respond to that if you can. Like, if I'm being honest, like when I hit delete and report as junk, what exactly do you receive from me? Or like, how does that even work, There must be some kind of like service that is like being, run by like maybe an intelligence program, whether it be like the FBI, the CIA, whatever the fuck other countries have, that is looking at what we delete from our phones and seeing like, like texting and data like that, right? Emails even possibly, right? And they're like, you know what? How are we going to be able to fix this problem? People keep getting spam. How are we going to, try to limit the spam? well, we have to figure out what kind of spam these people are receiving. And the only way to do that is to see what exactly they're deleting. And apparently, me deleting that message sends a report to God knows who of what I have received that I just deleted. That in my brain, I'm thinking like, ugh, I don't want to see this ever again. And Apple is like, or whoever runs that service is like, well, we want to know what you're receiving that you don't want to see anymore, so we can help you have a better, smooth sailing experience of using your device and using our services. How can we help? And I'll be honest, I think in the moment when you first see that, it's like, oh, how nice of them. How nice of Apple for actually caring about what I view and what I consider to be junk or spam. How nice of them. I think we can all kind of, get on board with that and be like, this is a good step forward. Like, look at Apple right there, Give them a round of applause for actually taking some, charge and caring about what, its users like me, like you, like your mom, your dad, let's be honest. Apple pretty much owns the United States when it comes to smartphones. Pretty much like 85, maybe to 75 to 80% of the people that I've ever met, that I've ever seen in this country have iPhones. Like, Apple has us hooked, line, and sinker with their products. Like, I understand that Android is still popular, but in terms of like sheer majority of people who have smartphones, Apple pretty much owns the space in this country. Like, it's very, very hard to find people really that don't have an iPhone. Even people back then, back when the first take it back to like when the first iPhone even came out, right? It took a while for people to really latch on to the idea back then that you would need all that junk in one device in your pocket, right? Because I was always in the mentality back then of like, this iPhone, when it first came out, how much did it cost? Like maybe $1,000, like the first model, maybe 600, maybe not 1,000, but maybe I think it was like maybe $600 for just like the phone itself. And back then, that was a ton of cash. That was a lot of money. Now it's like, the starting price. But back then, that was like the max you can, shell out on an iPhone, right? The first iPhone. But then it was like, you can do this, you can do that, you can even do this and that. It's a touch screen. There's no buttons, only one to turn it on and turn it off or whatever, home screen, then volume, and that was it. And then back then I was like, that'd be a cool thing to have, but you know what? I don't need it. If I want to use my internet, or my email, I can go to my computer. If I want to listen to music, I have an iPod. I don't need that one thing because I have multiple things to do each and everything that phone can do. Flash forward to today, yeah, everyone's got an iPhone. Everybody wants one device that can do literally everything. I never thought that when the iPhone first came out that I would get one because I had an iPod in my pocket and I had my phone in the other pocket. And I was like, why do I need both? Now, I can't imagine not having an iPhone or not having a device that can do everything that I want. Got my phone, got my texts, got my music, got my my email. I got all this shit in one device, in the palm of my hand. I can do it all. GPS, got it. Social media, got it. Notes, got it. If I want a book, it's on my phone. There's so much stuff that when you think about it, right? When you truly look at what we used to do back then, what we used to have, how many things we had, now it's all in one little gizmo in your pocket. But that, I mean, that was also a simpler time then. That was when a time where it's like everybody had a lot of different things to do, different things throughout the day. You know, I mean, remember when I was talking about when tablets tried to basically kill the laptop? Like they wanted so badly to take over that market of just killing the laptop. Like I remember like when the Surface was first coming out, and they would actually have like commercials that would like prove to you why their device, their souped up tablet that had a keyboard that didn't have as much power as a laptop, but had the flexibility, the functionality, the transportation, the lightweight. Like, look at this. This is going to take over the planet. This is it. No one is going to come close to what we have because of the functionality and the lack of, hardware, and it's small, but it didn't take off. When those things rolled out, people were like, well, what can I do on this thing? And you're like, well, pretty much nothing. If you think about it, like you can't really do a whole lot on those little tablets slash, Surface, like 2-in-1 type of devices. They're just not going to give you that much power and productivity when it comes down to it. I can't really name people that I know that actually still have those devices and still actively use those over like an actual traditional laptop. I just don't see it. It was a big jump when the laptop came out because that was like essentially a portable computer. I mean, it still is a portable computer. I mean, you can get some crazy powerful laptops that are like best like suited for gaming and shit. I mean, there's already a market for that. It's a laptop. We don't really need a tablet that wants to be a laptop that isn't really a laptop. No one wants that. Nobody actually wants that. It was a big mistake to put that out there. Crazy mistake. A mistake that people just don't want to see. We're done with that. We want to go, what's next? What's going to be the most productively friendly device? What device can I get the most stuff done? And this might not be about productivity, but there is a device that has been trying to make its way back into tech space, and that is these folding / flipping phones. They're only made by Android companies that use the Android software, but these like Z Flip or Z Fold devices that are like these smartphones that you're able to fold. I don't necessarily think that these are going to last that long, if I'm being completely honest. When I see them in the wild, which I have seen them in the wild, I don't feel like, there's going to be a whole lot of people that are willing to go to that type of device. Not necessarily because it folds, because it's like, I think that what we have now, which is just a single screened phone, just a touchscreen type phone, is pretty much like what we're going to always be used to. Like, I don't really see like anything that could be made in the future that is going to hit on all the notes that that these phones that we currently have right now, that they hit on. What I'm talking about is when you buy a phone, you don't just buy the device and that's it. You buy the experience. You always think when you're going to buy a new device, like, how is this going to function with my life? How is this going to, impact how I use this device? How is my life going to change when I purchase this device? And I think at the moment, when people see for themselves how like these phones that fold, how they work day to day, it doesn't really agree with how we, at the moment, how we see how smartphones are used in the modern era. Like, we just need a screen, a touch screen with a, that's it. And it fits our day-to-day use. We got 2 hands, 5 fingers on each hand, and the way we use it is pretty much golden. Like, this is all we can do. We make phones that are just too big sometimes. And that folding phone is, I think, a product of people being like, wait. We have to remember that these phones are for humans. We have to create a phone that we can see a person being able to do everything that they want and not having to use 2 hands, if that's possible. With the folding phones, how they fold up to like the max, I guess unfold, right, to their max like screen size potential. I feel like sometimes they overshoot the expectations of like what we actually are willing to do and what we actually want to do when we access our smartphones. Like, I don't want to have to freaking stretch my hand to some crazy ass length just to use a phone. If that makes any sense. Like, I'm not trying to like, do yoga with my hands just to use a phone. It's just not going to happen. I think that with even like giant phones, like even like a simple phone like the brand new like Galaxy S23 Ultra. Sometimes I actually think that phone might have been made a little too big. I've seen it in person. I'm like, dude, like, I have an iPhone 14 Pro Max. This, I think, is a good size. The 23 Ultra is like even bigger than the iPhone, and I thought the iPhone was pretty big when I first saw it. But seeing that phone, and then there's even other phones that are even bigger than that. It's like, dude, like, hold on. Are we forgetting, like, how is this going to function? Like, is this going to be like clumsy in our hands? Is it going to fit in our pockets? Is it going to be able to be concealed? Are we going to be able to put this away? What about cases? Are cases going to be too thick? Are they going to be too big, too bulky? Is it going to look weird? Which is why I was actually kind of like, I guess I should have seen like the sales or whatever, but like, remember when they released like the iPhone like 13 or was it the 12, like the 12 mini or the 13 mini? That was, at least an option if you had smaller hands or just don't want a gigantic size phone. That at least was an outlet where, it was like a broader way for you to, experience an iPhone on a smaller level. That way, if it's just too big or you don't really need that much space or you don't want a big phone, it was going to be like, an option for you. But I guess it probably didn't sell that well. And that's why they probably canned it. They're like, you know what? Good idea. We thought of other people. That's a good thing. That's what we should be doing. But in the end, not a lot of people bought it. Therefore, we got to cancel the project, which is, essentially is what happens in everything in business. It just happens, some things or something that does not meet a certain quota, a certain projection, a certain earnings, whatever it is. Expectations matter in business, but also what actually, matters more is results. And if you're not getting the right results from what you're making, you're probably not going to continue to make that thing that isn't producing the best results that you think or that you were expecting or even hoping in some sort. I mean, just look at everything that's ever happened, that's ever come out. All the things that were, essentially canned, canceled. Look at HBO Max. That was not making enough money, or money that they thought that they should have been making. And what do? They were bought out by Discovery. And then Discovery was like, you know what? This is kind of failing. So, you know what we're going to do? We're going to shift this whole thing around. We're going to take out the HBO part of HBO Max and just make it Max. Now, I barely use Max. I haven't used it as much as I thought that I would, but I use it a couple times. But then I saw that Band of Brothers and the Pacific are going to be moving to Netflix. In fact, this month they will be on Netflix in September. And what does that scream to me? It screams that Warner Brothers Discovery might be in trouble with their money. Because never would I thought, when Max and HBO Max were coming out, they were like, you know what? We're going to make a platform where we have all of our beloved content and all of our beloved shows, movies, series, comedy specials, docuseries, documentaries. They're all going to be on our app that we make for our content that we have created. That was about 3 years ago? 4 years ago when it first came out? Now we're at the point where it's like they're licensing their content to Netflix, making it seem like, why did I even get... If you're buying HBO Max to watch those specific shows that eventually this month are going to be dumped on Netflix, and what's the point? I guess, when they put their shows on Netflix, that means that Netflix is paying Warner Brothers Discovery to have their content on their service. So it must seem that, they were not getting the results that they wanted with the content that they have on their platform. So they got to find the quickest and most efficient, quick way to make money. What is that going to be? What does that consist of? Licensing out your content. Being like, you know what? We were all about this. We wanted to do it. We saw the goal. We wanted to strive for it. And then they're like, we're not really making a ton of money at the moment. Why is that, you think? In my opinion, I'll be honest, I have not watched or heard of a quote-unquote Max original that I've wanted to see since I saw Raised by Wolves back when I think it was 2020 when that came out. And then it took a while for the second season to come out, and then that season was just not very good. I didn't even finish it. But since then, I don't really see a whole lot of Max originals that get promoted that highly, that they're proud of, that draw in eyeballs to watch their streaming service, if I'm being completely honest. And it's just well, they're probably what do we got on Max that's new? Oh, we got The Flash. No one likes The Flash. No one's going to watch it, sorry. So, what do? They got to license their shit. And you know what? The only thing that really kept me to, actually regularly, the past, month, watch Max was because of Hard Knocks. Because football is back today, and I did enjoy watching Hard Knocks. This year had its ups and its downs. And now I think it's time to talk about that. Now that the season of Hard Knocks for this season has finally concluded. So this season of Hard Knocks that just concluded, starring the New York Jets, which I'll be honest, if I'm being completely honest, this season of Hard Knocks made me actually think that the Jets were going to win the Super Bowl. But it does that with pretty much every team that they cover, And the reason for that, and let's be completely honest here when we're talking about this, because if we're not going to be completely honest, then we're just not going to get to the bottom of this, and we're not going to actually know why I think this way, and that a lot of people think this way. This, as much as it comes off as a documentary type of reality stuff, that's going to be real and get down to the nitty gritty. It's going to be realistic, and you're going to see what it's like to go through training camp with the New York Jets and other teams prior. Of course, it's going to be, actual things that actually happened. But of course, the Jets are going to sign off on what cut that they're going to be putting out weekly. Come on. Let's be honest. The Jets have Final Cut on Hard Knocks. They're not going to let HBO, put out something that makes them look like they're not that the team might be in trouble, or because that Hard Knocks is available, for everybody to watch. What if somebody from the New England Patriots wants to watch it to see how do these guys operate? How's this going? No, they're gonna make sure that what they put out there is safe and is in the image and is in the good light of the New York Jets and what the New York Jets want fans and people, how they want to be portrayed and how they want to be seen by other fans and just the general public. They're not going to show you what actually really happens in training camp. They're going to show you a watered down, soft, weak version of that. And I guess, if I'm being completely honest, and I've alluded to this in the past few episodes when I talk about Hard Knocks, but god damn it, this season of Hard Knocks was pretty weak. It was actually pretty weak. Now, that's not to say that I thought it wasn't bad. It was pretty good. If we're talking about getting a deep dive or getting a semi-deep dive into this team and the stars on this team and the personalities and to the to see what kind of persona they have on the team, what kind of players they got on the team. They just signed Aaron Rodgers, I believe, in April. Maybe not even then, maybe later then, but they signed him to a contract, or he was either probably linked and not signed, but linked to the Jets for so long, and he actually ended up signing with the Jets. But he is the biggest draw for this Hard Knocks season, for sure. And did he deliver? He absolutely did. He absolutely was the star of the show. It seemed like he was really happy with his decision to go to the New York Jets to play for that team. And let's just say that the show painted him as a good guy, as the main character, which, if you're the Jets and you got Final Cut, of course you're going to do that. But let me be very, very honest. They at least could have dove in deeper with that, even with Aaron Rodgers and even with the other quarterback that was on the team that used to be the starter in Zach Wilson. Listen, Zach Wilson is not in the show that much. He's probably in it every episode, but he does not get anywhere close to the amount of screen time as Aaron Rodgers does. Now, let's be fair. Zach Wilson is not Aaron Rodgers, so therefore he's probably not going to get as much of screen time as Aaron Rodgers is. But we can't forget, fans of the NFL, and I'm pretty sure that this is what this show is, who this show is made for, fans of the NFL, fans of football. But how do you not really see and give us the really nitty-gritty when it comes down to this? The dude, Aaron Rodgers, just basically took Zach Wilson's job, and he is now being demoted, and he knows he's being demoted to second-string quarterback. How are we not getting more of an in-depth look at that? How are we not getting a more of a, how he's handling it, how he's taking it, what the coaches really think of him? It was probably a storyline when you're thinking yo, this could be interesting. This could have some layers to it. Like, this could be really something that, we never really see, in Hard Knocks. In the past teams that they've covered in Hard Knocks, the starting quarterback has been there for a while. He's or maybe he's a new signing, but not really much of a threat to, or he doesn't have much of a challenge. Like, if I think about it, if I go back in time, last year's was the Lions, a new quarterback, Jared Goff, but he was kind of already established as being the starter. Before that, in the midseason, I think was maybe during the midseason was the Cardinals, solidified starter, and then it was the who was it? The Colts solidified starter. The Cowboys, no one's taking Dak Prescott's job back then. Before that was the Raiders, and then with Derek Carr, and the Rams and the Chargers, no real challenge there. So, it's you have this storyline where the veteran, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, probably the best quarterback right now in the league, is going to a new city, a new team, and stripping the starting quarterback's job from the current starting quarterback and be like, no, this is mine. And you're not going to dive deep into that? Like, dude, that was a missed opportunity for you to get in there and really find out and really see, how these guys are handling it and what's their perspective and how they move forward. Come on. Don't try to sugarcoat it nah, man, we're all friends. This is cool. This is awesome. We're all friends. Yeah, that's not how competitors are, I understand, they're trying to be a team and all that, but still, there's always, certain things I feel like that this season and this show really took the soft lane on. Really decided to be nah, we're just going to not cover that. The team won't let us release that. It's fuck, man. I just wish that it used to be, it used to be more intense. It used to be harder and show the harsh reality of trying to make it an NFL team and the real struggles that players go through to make it to the NFL starting 53-man roster. To get onto the roster, it's just, they totally missed out on that. And then this year, moving on from the quarterbacks, but they introduce these players that are on the bubble. Finally, within in this third episode, they actually start doing that, and then they start to follow them, and then they do a good job with that, and they humanize them, and it's cool. And then there's these moments where they call the players in. And, that's where I'm kind of sitting up in my chair oh, shit. I haven't seen this type of thing in a while, because they used to call the players in and actually film it where they, were going to be we got to cut you. You got to, you just didn't make it. But no, they pull a fast one. They do the same setup. They bring the player in. They got the coaches there. The GM is with them too. And then what do? They just they pretty much do a psych and be you're going to be a New York Jet? And it's damn, that's soft as fuck, man. Hard Knocks used to be, great TV. It used to be fun to watch it. I mean, they did show the players who did get cut, but it was very soft. It was very soft. It was very tame. And you were not you didn't see any exchanges within the actual cutting of the player, which you used to, and that was always the best part, to see that realization, to see how the player reacts, to see how they feel in those moments. I get that it's not a moment that you want, probably don't want televised, or you don't want filmed, but it makes for good TV, and I'll stand by that. Sure, yeah, I'm pro player, but that's kind of what the show's about. That's kind of how it's always been about. And it doesn't always end bad for that player, In the most Hard Knocks that I've seen, the players that do get cut either get picked up by other teams or they get signed to the practice squad. So it's not really a terrible, terrible thing. It's not always the end of the world. And they actually do make it a fair point and make it a big point in this season that it isn't the end of the world. It doesn't always end bad. Just because you get cut doesn't mean you're out of opportunities. And that's really shown in this season. I just thought that it was like such a soft way to go through it. And then the last episode that happened, this week, there was just a lot of like stuff in it that didn't really need to be in it at all, if I'm being completely honest. Like, they talk about throughout the season, this season at least, of going to see like New York City Broadway shows because they're the New York Jets now, and they some players have never been there before. They new team, new scene, and all that. And they actually have in the show like them going to go see like a Michael Jackson play on Broadway, and like they showing them dance to the songs, and like, yeah, this is soft as fuck. Like, I don't want to see like these guys in a docu-series about football, spend like 5-6 minutes about filming their experience at a musical. I couldn't give more of a shit, if I'm being completely honest. And then they had this like, I shit you not like 3-minute like part of the series where like Aaron Rodgers is like depicting him seeing a UFO back like years ago with his friends. Like, I'll be honest, I believe in UFOs. UFOs are interesting as fuck. But at the same time, that type of shit should not be in Hard Knocks. Like, I am smart enough to be like, this does not belong here. Like, this is not Ancient Aliens. This is not Joe Rogan. This is Hard Knocks. Why are we wasting time? And to top it all off, I mean, like, the last episode was like 40 minutes. Like, good gravy. Am I watching fucking Disney Plus Star Wars? Like, what? Star Wars shows? Like, this is HBO. What are we doing with this whole 40-minute runtime bullshit? Like, that's 20 minutes that you could have shown players getting cut in The Office, and you don't show it? Like, if anybody's on thin ice this week, it is HBO and Hard Knocks. They're on thin ice. Like, this mid-season, this in-season, if they even continue to do it, Hard Knocks, this year, whatever, better be baller. Like, this, no more of this candy-ass bullshit. I'm just sick and tired of it. It's been getting softer ever since the Cleveland Browns one, like 5 years ago. 6 years ago, I can't remember, but like that one was actually the last one where it went hard. And I just I always get so hyped up for Hard Knocks, and the first few episodes were pretty good, I'll admit, but like, you can't be wasting my time, especially in the finale with Michael Jackson and UFOs. Like, come on, you're better than that, HBO. You're better than that, Hard Knocks. Come on. But anyways, sticking with the NFL, I think that it's finally that time. It is that time. The NFL begins this week, and that brings NFL recaps and NFL previews of the week ahead. This week is week 1, starting off today with Thursday Night Football. Now, I hope that you listen to this show before the game actually kicks off and not after, because that'll make me look like an absolute fool when the game has already happened. And I'm probably going to be wrong on my prediction, but hey, that's why this is where the fun begins, This is a new day. This is a new season, and we are embarking on a new season today in the NFL. Like, hallelujah, we are here. Week 1 of the NFL is kicking off today. We should be so happy. We should be so grateful. I know Hard Knocks was painful to watch, and it was not the best, but now we're here. The bullshit's over. The chatter's over. It's now time for the boys to play. So we're going to be talking about the games for the week, and I'm going to give you my best predictions. So Thursday night game, Lions versus Chiefs. I have actually told people that I think that the Lions are actually a pretty good team. I really think that they're actually pretty good. They started very bad last year. terrible, like one of the worst teams to start a season. But then they actually figured it out and won a lot of games, and could have pushed into the playoffs. Now, having that said, do I think that the Lions could beat the Chiefs? Yes, I really do think that they can. Kelsey is questionable at this moment. I don't know if he plays, but but the Chiefs still have Andy Reid. The Chiefs still have Patrick Mahomes. And when you got those guys together, like, it's going to be tough for me to consider that the Chiefs actually lose an opener, right? So, as much as I think that the Lions can win and would be very, very cool to see them win and beat the Chiefs, I think that the Chiefs are going to win this game. Like, I mean, it's a matchup that you're thinking, like, you know what? Could this actually be, an upset? Of course it could. But then there's this reality where it's like, yeah, I mean, it's the damn Chiefs. It's Patrick Mahomes and it's the Chiefs. Like, so I'm gonna pick the Chiefs to win this game. Texans Ravens to start the first Sunday. I'm gonna go with the Ravens. I feel like the Texans got really nothing going on for them. The Ravens have Lamar Jackson back. They got some pretty good receivers. Zay Flowers. I think that Odell Beckham Jr. I think that the Ravens win this game. Bengals Browns. Joe Burrow is not 100%. But you know what? I don't know what I can expect from the Browns. They have some decent players. They got a good run game. Their quarterback is, I mean, I'm not really sure where he's at in his progression of his career. He didn't have the greatest season back last year, but he might be able to bounce back this year. But even with, I think, not 100% Joe Burrow, I'd probably take that over Deshaun Watson every day of the week. So I'm going to go Bengals that game. Buccaneers Vikings. The Buccaneers really have nobody on their team. Well, they have a lot of good players, but like, I don't know if like they're going to be capable. I mean, we saw it last year, or with Tom Brady, they just were not a very competent football team to win games. So the fact that they don't have Tom Brady and it's like basically still the same team now with Baker Mayfield, I think I'm going to go the Vikings. I know the Vikings are kings of the regular season. They're not really the kings of the playoffs. So I'm going to think that trend is going to continue, and I'm going to go with the Vikings over the Buccaneers. Titans Saints. I'm going to go Saints. No, I'm going to go Titans. I think that, the Titans, even though that they're not very good at quarterback, they have an amazing running back with Derrick Henry. And I think that Derrick Henry and like every other running back is mad at the NFL with the contracts and all that they're going to be playing so well and using that anger to fuel them and force teams to pay for them. And I think that Derrick Henry is going to be one of the lead men to charge and make that argument, be like, hey, yo, we matter. And we still, get touches, and we're like one of the most important positions in the NFL, that he's going to explode on this Saints team. Panthers, Falcons. I'm going to go Falcons just because I don't think that, Bryce Young has looked that great in the preseason, and that the Falcons have Bijan Robinson, who I know is a rookie running back, but like, Jesus Christ, like they must see something that we don't see for them to draft a running back with the way that running backs are being treated in the NFL, and him going in the first round, like that says a lot that this guy might be like one of a really special player. Jaguars Colts. I'm gonna go Jaguars on this one because I think that Trevor Lawrence, with 1 year under his belt with Doug Peterson, now he's starting year 2. getting Calvin Ridley, Travis Etienne, getting those boys back, that, they should win more games than last year. Like now, I think that at this point, with their who they have on their team, that they need to be actually able to win. They have the players and the coaches to actually win games this year. It's just going to be a matter if they can actually, put that all together. But I think that they have the blueprints to do that, but we'll just see if they can actually achieve that. 49ers, Steelers, bro. This is easy. 49ers all day. I mean, I know that Brock Purdy for me is still not a solidified starter because like that was his first year, and I think it was just like he only played for like 6 or 7 games, I think, in the regular season. But like, I just don't really know if that's gonna be, if he's still gonna be able to light it up like that, week in, week out. Even now that he has tape out of how he's played, it's a big question mark. I still think that, with Brock Purdy, but I think overall, the Niners just have a better team than the Steelers. I know the Steelers have a decent quarterback, but like there isn't too much besides him and TJ Watt that surprised me on that team. The Niners just are loaded on offense and on defense. That it's a team sport, right? You can't just rely on 2 players to will that team. So I'm gonna go Niners on that one. Cardinals, Commanders. The Cardinals really have nobody on their team, like no one that excites me. JJ Watt's gone. Kyler Murray is hurt. Their starting quarterback, I believe, is Josh Dobbs. Like, they don't really have anybody exciting. Neither do the Commanders, but like they have at least, they got Sam Howell, who's a decent quarterback. They have Terry McLaurin, Chase Young is going to be back, I believe. So they have at least pieces and players that can get you excited. But it might not be that great of a game, I'll be honest. But I'm going to pick the Commanders to win that game. Raiders, Broncos. Both essentially, we're going to get... These are new teams. I know that, the Broncos had a Russell Wilson last year, but they didn't have Sean Payton. So this is going to be a totally different team than from last year under Nathaniel Hackett. So that's going to be interesting to see. The Raiders, new quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, still got Josh Jacobs, still got all those, other players. But I still think that Russell Wilson might be a little bit broken. Jimmy G, I think that if Josh McDaniels can play to this guy's strengths and not overdo it with him, that they'll be able to at least win enough games to possibly get to the playoffs and possibly do well enough to get there. Whereas with the Broncos, Sean Payton is not going to have any bullshit from Russell Wilson. So like if Russell's able to coexist with Sean Payton, then they might win a lot of games. But if not, might be, a really bad matchup. But for this game in particular, being in Denver, it's tough. I actually cannot see how Russell Wilson and the Broncos under Sean Payton do that well. But then again, Josh McDaniels kind of knows Jimmy G with their time in New England. So just based off of like the experience and like the how they know each other and maybe more chemistry, I'm gonna go Raiders. I'm gonna go Raiders beating the Broncos. I mean, it isn't much, but like I still think that the Raiders have more talented players than the Broncos do. And I know that they think that Russell Wilson might be a better quarterback, but I don't know if he can if he keeps on with this let's ride bullshit, I don't know if he's going to motivate any of these players to play for him, I'll be honest. So I'm going to go Raiders over the Broncos in that game. Dolphins, Chargers. Shit. It's going to be in LA too. Ooh, I'm going to go Chargers just because I think that I believe that, the combination with what's his name? Austin Eckler. What the hell is the quarterback's name for the Chargers? Justin Herbert. All those boys. Mike Williams. Keenan Allen. I think is they go hand in hand with Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, who's questionable, but I think that Justin Herbert is just a better quarterback than Tua. I think that if they, defensively, it might be a high scoring game, but I think that the Chargers might have the edge in terms of being able to outscore teams. So I'm going to go with the Chargers on that one. Packers Bears. I would have to take the Bears just because Justin Fields is he's just played more NFL games than Jordan Love. So, based off the experience, who they have, the Bears also have DJ Moore. The Packers have not that many notable players that I know of. Aaron Rodgers kind of took them all back to the Jets. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bears on that one. Rams, Seahawks. Listen, I'm a Rams fan. You guys have known this for a while. The Seahawks are actually a pretty damn good team. Probably second after the Niners in that division, in our division. If Matthew Stafford goes down, this season is over. Truly is over. If he stays healthy, we have a chance to be competitive. But against these Seahawks, who actually are coached very well, have a pretty good quarterback in Geno Smith. Dude, I'm going to take the Rams just because I'm a Rams fan, but I'm going to be terrified for this game. For sure. So yeah, I'm going with the Rams over the Seahawks. Cowboys, Giants. I think that the Giants are good enough to, to beat anybody. I really do. They beat the Vikings last year, who are the kings of the regular season, but this was in the playoffs. But I think that the Cowboys are also pretty good. They are a really good team. They have a very good defensive line. Their O-line is okay, but the Giants, I feel like, they just paid Daniel Jones. They have Darren Waller. I feel like that they're going to be a little bit more, have more dimensions than last year. Daniel Jones, too, is a threat with his legs. So, maybe they exploit that more this year. In this game, the Giants at home, dude, I'm going to go with the Giants. Now I'm going to go with the Cowboys. I'll pick the Cowboys. I just feel like the Cowboys have a little bit more talent than the Giants do. And the Giants might not really know how to completely use all that talent that they have. The Cowboys might be able to more than the Giants. So I'm going to go Cowboys with that game. The Cowboys over the Giants. Monday night game, Bills, Jets. As much as I want to pick the Jets, I think I'm going to step back into reality. I was watching Hard Knocks. I finished the entire season. From what I could take away from that, as a viewer, as a fan, the Jets don't have a very good offensive line. That's pretty needed in the NFL. So, the Bills don't have a great one either. But the Jets have a pretty damn good defense. The Bills' defense is okay. Both have very good quarterbacks. Oh man, that's tough. This is gonna be a good game. I'm gonna play it safe, and I'm gonna go the Bills. I just feel like the Bills are gonna be able to score more than the Jets can, being with a new quarterback, new team. The Bills have been there for a while with the same somewhat core of players. I feel I'm gonna go with the Bills. The Bills over the Jets. This is gonna be interesting, people. Interesting season, interesting teams. I'm back in fantasy. I have a fantasy team playing with my family again. Just thought I would tell you my players, my starting players, just before the season starts. That way we could, keep track of my misery, which is going to happen this year. By the way, this is going to be a terrible season, I already know, but, we'll see. So my quarterback is Lamar Jackson. Wide receivers, Garrett Wilson, Calvin Ridley. Running backs, Nick Chubb, Cam Akers. Tight end, Dalton Kincaid. Flex, 2 flexes, Amari Cooper and James Cook. Kicker is Jason Myers. Defense is New England. And for my bench, it's pretty receiver heavy, running back heavy. I got Michael Pittman Jr., David Montgomery, Daniel Jones, Rashad Bateman, Kenneth Gainwell, and what's his name? Chigoziem Okonowo, tight end. So, I don't know. Going to be a pretty stressful season. We'll see. Stressful for me and for fantasy, and I just want to compete well. I need so badly to get a week 1 win in fantasy just to brighten my I haven't gotten a week 1 fantasy win in years. I've been doing pretty bad in fantasy, so I need a good year. I need a very good year. Anyways, people, thank you for listening and thank you for watching. Remember, you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube at Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. New episodes drop every Thursday morning. Make sure to like, rate, subscribe, review, do all that good stuff. And thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I will see you guys next week.